Hey everyone, this is Michael again, and welcome to the Monday Night Raw review. Monday Night Raw tonight was from the Scotiabank Arena in Toronto, Canada. And the show just ended, and I gotta say, Monday Night Raw tonight was a good show. Really enjoyed Monday Night Raw tonight. We saw TRISH STRATUS make an appearance, Toronto's own TRISH STRATUS. So it was good seeing TRISH STRATUS again. We also saw the semifinals match in the Women's Tag Team Championship Tournament, where it's Dakota Kai and Io Sky ended up taking on Alexa Bliss and Asuka. Finn Balor was in action, where he ended up taking on Dolph Ziggler. We had Kevin Owens versus Chad Gable. Bayley made her in-ring return tonight in a year that she last had a match. And she ended up taking on Aliyah, also, who is from Toronto. And we saw The Miz and Ciampa versus AJ Styles and Bobby Lashley. And in the main event, it was Toronto's own Edge. He ended up taking on Damien Priest. And also tonight, we saw the return of Johnny Gargano, Johnny Wrestling. It was good to see Gargano back. He's been out for 9 months because, of course, him and Candice LeRae had a child. And I was thinking, maybe if Gargano doesn't want to come back to WWE, and if Vince was still in charge of the company and running everything under the old administration, Gargano wouldn't possibly have been here. He would have gone to AEW. Tony Khan would have snatched Gargano, signed to AEW, and we would have got Johnny Wrestling on Wednesday nights on Dynamite. But now that Triple H is in charge, and he's part of creative and running everything, he brought back Johnny Gargano, which is a great thing. And hopefully, now that Gargano is here, they could break Ciampa away from The Miz, because he really needs to. They need to get Ciampa away from Miz and put him back with Johnny Gargano, and we get a DIY reunion, with Gargano and Ciampa. That's what I want to see. But it was, like I said, it was good to see Johnny Gargano return tonight. The crowd erupted when he came out, made for a good moment. Monday Night Raw, good show tonight. But anyways, let's jump right into the review. Monday Night Raw opened up tonight, and we had a brawl backstage between Riddle and Seth Rollins. So officials end up trying to break Riddle and Rollins apart, and they end up just brawling to ringside, and officials end up trying to break them up again. Riddle broke away. They end up finally managing to pull Riddle and Rollins apart. There was a point where Riddle ended up jumping off the barricade and took out Rollins and the officials out there. So that was cool. And pretty much that was basically that. And next week on Monday Night Raw, which is going to be from Pittsburgh, Pennsylvania, we're going to get a face-to-face between Riddle and Seth Rollins. So we're going to be seeing that next week. And then we had TRISH STRATUS making an appearance tonight. Toronto's own TRISH STRATUS, WWE Hall of Famer. And she ended up heading down to the ring. She ended up getting on the mic. And she ended up saying that it feels good to be home. Not in Toronto, but in the ring. TRISH STRATUS ended up saying that she's been doing a lot of thinking lately. And then she got interrupted by Bayley, Dakota Kai, and Io Sky. So all three of them end up heading down to the ring. And Monday Night Raw went to commercial, which I don't know why they went to commercial. So, because, you had Bayley, Dakota Kai, and Io Sky, getting into the ring. So, as Monday Night Raw came back from the commercial, Bayley was on the mic, and she kept saying that Monday Night Raw is the best show to be at. She then asked TRISH STRATUS what she's doing here. TRISH STRATUS ended up saying that there's a big match with Edge happening later on in the night. TRISH STRATUS ended up saying that she had something to say before she was rudely interrupted by Bayley, Dakota Kai, and Io Sky. Bayley ended up saying that they don't care what TRISH STRATUS has to say. Bayley ended up saying that TRISH STRATUS is the past. And she ended up asking who she thinks TRISH STRATUS is. So then Bianca Belair ended up coming out. Bianca Belair came out, she got on the mic, and she complimented TRISH STRATUS. Bianca ended up telling Bayley that she should be thanking Stratus. She ended up saying that she'll tell her who Stratus is. She is a trailblazer. She ended up saying that Toronto is her city, and she should stop being disrespectful. So Bianca ended up saying that she can defend herself. Trish Stratus then went on and said she could go from being retired to being once retired. So Bayley ended up saying that it's 3-on-2 because it was Bayley, Dakota Kai, and Io Sky, and then just Bianca Belair and Trish Stratus. So then Alexa Bliss and Asuka end up coming out. So she ended up calling them the future women's tag team champions. She ended up calling Alexa Bliss and Asuka, future women's tag team champions. And she ended up saying that it's 3-on-4. So Bayley ended up saying that she's feeling generous and she will let it slide. Trish Stratus ended up wishing Dakota Kai and Io Sky good luck in their match. And so apparently at Clash at the Castle, it's going to be a 6-woman tag team match. It's going to be Bianca Belair and Alexa Bliss and Asuka taking on Bayley, Dakota Kai, and Io Sky. So that's going to be happening at Clash at the Castle. And then we had the first match of the night, which was the semifinals match in the Women's Tag Team Championship Tournament, where it was Dakota Kai and Io Sky versus Alexa Bliss and Asuka. And this was just a pretty meh match, in my opinion. These Women Tag Team Championship Tournament matches have been just very meh, in my opinion. And the titles, the titles are cursed because Nikita Lyons and Zoe Starks are out of the tournament. Zoe Starks got injured. And now, earlier today, it was reported that Gigi Dolan is injured. And now Toxic Attraction is out of the Women's Tag Team Championship Tournament. And that there's going to be a second chance match this Friday on SmackDown. Like I said, Women's Tag Team titles are cursed. And now, as I'm thinking about it, possibly it's going to be Dakota Kai and Io Sky winning the Women's Tag Team Championship. And then they're going to keep those titles warm until they put the titles on Sasha Banks and Naomi when they return. But the match ended up starting. We had Asuka end up sending Dakota Kai down to the mat. They end up locking up. And we had Dakota Kai end up heading to the outside. And the referee started getting the 10 count because Dakota Kai was just standing out there. So as the referee ended up counting 8, she was still standing out there. Counted 9, got back on the apron, and we had Asuka just sending Dakota Kai back down to the outside. And as Monday Night Raw came back from the commercial, we had Io Sky and Alexa Bliss. They were in the ring. Bliss ended up sending Sky down to the mat. And then Asuka ended up tagging back in. Io Sky rolled up Asuka. And Asuka ended up kicking out. Asuka then delivered a knee to Io Sky. Sky ended up firing back with a kick to Asuka's throat. Dakota Kai tagged in. Dakota Kai then ended up sending Asuka down to the mat. Dakota Kai ended up delivering some kicks to Asuka. And then Asuka delivered a knee to Dakota Kai's midsection. Alexa Bliss tagged in and delivered a forearm to Dakota Kai. Bliss ended up going for the cover. Dakota Kai ended up kicking out. Alexa Bliss rolled up Dakota Kai, and Dakota Kai ended up kicking out. Kai then delivered a right hand to Bliss's midsection, to which she followed up with a knee. So Alexa Bliss ended up sending Dakota Kai to the outside and delivered a cannonball off the apron. And we saw backstage Dana Brooke and Tamina were watching the match. Dakota Kai ended up tripping Alexa Bliss, ended up sending Alexa Bliss's face bouncing off the apron. And as Monday Night Raw came back from the commercial, Alexa Bliss ended up making the tag to Asuka. Io Sky tagged in. Asuka took her down. She was delivering some kicks to Sky's midsection, which she followed up with a German suplex to Sky. Asuka ended up going for the cover, and Sky ended up kicking out. And now we saw Aliyah, Doudrop, and Nikki ASH watching the match from backstage. Io Sky then delivered the double knees to Asuka's head, and she followed up with a missile drop kick. So Sky ended up going for the cover. Alexa Bliss ended up breaking up the pin. Dakota Kai tagged in. Asuka ended up delivering a backslide to Dakota Kai. So Asuka ended up going for the cover, and Dakota Kai ended up kicking out, and Dakota Kai ended up delivering a boot to Asuka's face. So Dakota Kai ended up going for the pin, and Asuka kicked out. So in the end, we had Asuka end up locking in the Asuka lock on Dakota Kai. Io Sky ended up breaking it up. Alexa Bliss ended up tagging in. Bliss ended up going up to the top. Ended up hitting Twisted Bliss. And we had Dakota Kai end up delivering a forearm. Io Sky ended up making the tag. Asuka ended up locking in the Asuka lock on Dakota Kai. To which, Dakota Kai wasn't the legal woman in the ring. She was not the legal person. It was Io Sky. So Io Sky came out of nowhere, and she ended up rolling up Asuka. And so there you go. Dakota Kai and Io Sky end up winning the match. They're moving on in the tournament. Overall, just very meh match this was. The matches in the Women's Tag Team Tournament so far, like I said, have been very meh. And the titles are cursed, in my opinion. Like I said earlier, Dakota Kai and Io Sky are possibly going to win the titles. They're going to keep the titles warm until Sasha Banks and Naomi come back. And Sasha Banks and Naomi are going to win it from Dakota Kai and Io Sky. That's how the way I see it going down. But that's my prediction. And then we had Kevin Patrick. Kevin Patrick was backstage. He was talking to Dolph Ziggler. Kevin Patrick ended up asking Dolph Ziggler about his loss to Austin Theory last week. And he ended up saying that he'll move past it. So Finn Balor and Rhea Ripley end up walking in. They end up saying that Dolph Ziggler uses younger talent to keep himself relevant. Balor ended up saying that Dolph can't teach him anything. Then Dolph then ended up slapping Balor, and he headed to the ring. So now it's pretty much basically that. Dolph ended up saying that he's going to move past his loss from Austin Theory last week. So that was that. And then we had Dolph Ziggler versus Finn Balor, which this was a good match here. Match ended up starting with Dolph and Balor end up locking up. Balor ended up delivering a kick to Dolph's midsection. Dolph ended up firing back with a drop kick to Balor. Dolph ended up hitting some right hands to Balor's head. Balor ended up firing back with some right hands of his own to Dolph. Balor then ended up sending Dolph face first into the middle turnbuckle. And as Monday Night Raw came back from the commercial, Dolph ended up fighting Balor off with some right hands. Dolph then ended up hitting a back elbow to Balor, which he followed up with a knee to Balor's face, and then a running elbow. Dolph then ended up firing some right hands to Balor's head in the corner, and he delivered a neck breaker to Balor, and then he delivered a standing elbow drop. Balor then came back and ended up hitting a reverse DDT on Dolph. He ended up going for the cover, and Dolph ended up kicking out. Balor started delivering some stomps to Dolph's chest. Dolph then ended up rolling up Balor. Balor kicked out. So then Balor ended up hitting a powerbomb on Dolph. He ended up going for the cover, and Dolph ended up kicking out. Dolph got back up, and he delivered a drop kick, which he followed up with a DDT to Balor. So Dolph ended up going for the cover, and Balor ended up kicking out. Oh, and of course, we had Rhea Ripley out there at ringside. So Dolph then ended up hitting the Famouser to Balor. He ended up going for the cover, and Balor ended up kicking out. Balor then delivered a drop kick to Dolph, ended up sending him into the corner. Balor then ended up heading up to the top. He was looking to go for the coup de grace, but Dolph ended up countering that into a zigzag on Balor. He ended up going for the cover, and Balor kicked out of the zigzag. So Balor and Dolph, they were exchanging right hands. Balor delivered a kick to Dolph's midsection. The referee was distracted, and Rhea Ripley ended up taking a cheap shot at Dolph's head. So that led to Balor hitting the 1916 on Dolph. Balor ended up going up to the top. He delivered the coup de grace on Dolph, and he ended up going for the cover. And there you go. Balor ended up winning the match. Overall, this was a good match. Good wrestling here from both Balor and Dolph here. And then we went backstage, and we saw Aliyah. Of course, Aliyah is from Toronto. Aliyah ended up saying that she's a bougie badass, while Smiley Raquel Rodriguez, is a badass. She's a badass by smiling. And when she's in the ring doing a suplex, smiling. Elbow drop, smiling. Yeah, Smiley Raquel, a badass. So then we had Bayley, Io Sky, and Dakota Kai end up walking up to Aliyah. They started taunting her. Bayley ended up asking where Raquel is. And she ended up saying that it's not smart for her to be alone. So TRISH STRATUS walked in. And TRISH STRATUS ended up saying to Bayley that she isn't alone. So I'm glad that we saw TRISH STRATUS twice tonight. So Aliyah then ended up challenging Bayley to a match later on Aliyah's behalf, to which Bayley accepted the match. So there you go. We saw that later on tonight, Aliyah versus Bayley. Bayley returned to in-ring action after a year. So we saw that later on. And then we had the Alpha Academy. Otis and Chad Gable then append down to the ring. Otis growing back his beard, which is good because, that's fitted Otis, when he came in, with Tucker Knight when they were in NXT. The look of the beard on Otis fits him. And Vince and his administration were probably like, oh, we don't like your beard, so you need to shave it. And now that Triple H and his administration is here, Triple H is not going to go out and say to Otis, oh, trim your beard because we don't like how the way that looks. Or Triple H will say to other superstars, oh, we like your name. We're not going to change it. Or, he's not going out there and saying, oh, we don't like your haircut, so get it trimmed. Triple H is not doing that. But we had Chad Gable and Otis in the ring. And Chad Gable got on the mic. Please don't hand Chad Gable a mic until you give him a gimmick change. We don't want to hear shush and thank you. I am sick of it. It is fucking cringe. Stop giving the mic to Chad Gable. Chad Gable, when he's on the mic, is mute-inducing television. You pick up the remote and press mute every time he's on the mic. He is absolute cringe. He's good in the ring, but he sucks on the mic. So he ended up telling the crowd to shush. God. And he ended up saying that he has an important announcement. He ended up saying that they will be accepting new students for the Alpha Academy. So he ended up saying that they will begin a new search. And then he goes on trashing Toronto. So he ended up trashing the Maple Leafs. He ended up saying that he is hosting the first ever Alpha Academy Open Challenge. And he calls for the best to come out and face him. And who comes out? Toronto's own Kevin Owens. So yeah, Kevin Owens versus Chad Gable, which this was a very good match here. Good wrestling from Owens and Chad Gable here. So Owens ended up coming out, got a big pop from the Toronto crowd. The Toronto crowd was chanting KO at him. So the match I'm starring, Owens ended up firing down some right hands on Chad Gable. Both guys ended up spilling to the outside. Owens ended up continuing with some kicks to Chad Gable. Both guys got back to the ring. Owens ended up beating Gable down. He delivered some chops to Gable. Gable then delivered a kick to Owens' face. And Owens then delivered a clothesline and a senton to Chad Gable. Chad Gable ended up going down to the outside. Owens followed Gable. Chad Gable then delivered a suplex to Owens. And Owens ended up tripping Gable. Gable then delivered a back body drop to Kevin Owens on the apron, to which Gable then followed up with a German suplex to Kevin Owens on the apron. And then as Monday Night Raw came back from the commercial, Gable ended up hitting a German suplex to Kevin Owens. He ended up going for another one. Owens ended up reversing it, and Owens ended up delivering a German suplex to Gable. He then went and hit a cannonball in the corner and followed up with a forearm shot to Gable. Gable ended up firing back with a forearm shot of his own. And Kevin Owens then ended up hitting a backbreaker to Chad Gable. And Owens ended up going up to the top rope. He delivered a frog splash to Chad Gable. Chad Gable got back up, ended up delivering a suplex to Owens. He ended up going for the cover, and Owens ended up kicking out. Gable then ended up climbing up to the top, hit a diving headbutt to Owens, went for the cover. Owens kicked out. So both Owens and Gable ended up climbing up to the top. Owens then delivered a suplex from the top rope. Him and Gable went down. So Owens ended up going for the cover. Gable then kicked out. Owens ended up climbing up to the top, and he ended up flipping off the top. Gable ended up getting his knees up, and then Kevin Owens got back up, delivered the pop-up powerbomb to Chad Gable, went for the cover, and there you go. Kevin Owens ended up winning the match. Post-match, Owens came into the ring, ended up attacking Kevin Owens from behind. Owens ended up fighting Owens off, and he ended up sending Gable into the ring post. So Otis then ended up taking Kevin Owens down. He ended up sending Kevin Owens into the ring. Kevin Owens then delivered a stunner to Otis. Chad Gable then came in, and Owens ended up picking up Chad Gable. Owens ended up hitting a powerbomb to Gable on Otis, and that was basically that. Overall, this was a very good match between Owens and Gable. The right man, Kevin Owens, ended up winning the match, so that was good. But really enjoyed the match. Good wrestling from the both of them. And then we went backstage, and we saw the Flopment Day, Judgment Day. So we saw Finn Balor, Damian Priest, and Rhea Ripley. And they ended up laughing about how they've been dominating the Mysterios, Rey and Dominic. And then Damian Priest ended up addressing Edge. Damian Priest ended up saying that he will send Edge back into retirement and make him scream in front of his friends and family. So that was that. And then we had Bayley versus Aliyah. Bayley's in-ring return in a year. And in my opinion, this match sucked. In my opinion, this wasn't a good match. This wasn't a good match for Bayley's in-ring return after a year. Match started off with Bayley sending Aliyah down to the mat. Pretty much basically Bayley carried Aliyah through the match. So Aliyah then ended up hitting an arm drag to Bayley. She followed up with a drop kick and a crossbody. Bayley then delivered some kicks in the corner to Aliyah, to which she followed up with a suplex. So later on in the end of the match, Bayley ended up delivering the rose plant on Aliyah, and she ended up going for the cover. And there you go. Bayley ended up winning the match. Post-match, Dakota Kai and Io Sky end up heading out to celebrate with Bayley for her win. And that was basically that. Match was terrible. And this is Bayley's in-ring return after a year. A year that she was out with injury. And this is the best that you got for Bayley? Putting her in the ring with Aliyah out of all other women? It's not good for Bayley's in-ring return. Match was terrible. And then we had The Miz and Ciampa versus AJ Styles and Bobby Lashley. Ciampa and Miz end up coming out first. Of course, they're still wearing the picture necklace that Miz ended up giving Ciampa last week. Which, when I saw that last week, I'm like, what the fuck is this shit? Seeing that last week was awful. Oh, I'm giving you a necklace and it's a picture of the both of us. Awful. And they came out wearing that also tonight. The necklace with a picture of them both, of Miz and Ciampa. Ciampa needs to get away from the Miz. But this was a solid match. Ciampa and Styles started off the match. They end up locking up. Styles delivered a drop kick to Ciampa. He tagged in Lashley. Lashley came in, delivered a delayed vertical suplex to Ciampa, and Ciampa tagged in the Miz. Miz delivered a few kicks to Lashley. Lashley tagged in Styles. Styles then delivered a splash on the Miz, to which he followed up with a backbreaker. As Monday Night Raw came back from the commercial, Miz tagged in Ciampa. Ciampa ended up sending Styles down to the mat. He ended up going for the cover, and Styles kicked out. Ciampa then ended up sending Styles down to the mat, face first, and then he tagged in Miz. Miz then delivered a boot to Styles' face, locking in a crossface submission, and Styles ended up escaping. Miz sent him into the corner. Miz delivered a baseball slide to Styles on the outside, and Ciampa ended up sending him into the barricade. So Miz tagged in, delivered some knee strikes to Styles' back. And later on in the match, we had some random person end up attacking Styles. We all know who this person is because this person was all dressed in black, wearing a mask. And Dexter Lumis showed up tonight again. Dexter Lumis appeared from behind, and he ended up dragging The Miz out of the arena. The match ended in a disqualification because of that. So Miz and Ciampa end up winning the match by DQ. So in the ring, Ciampa tried to beat down on both Styles and Lashley. Styles and Lashley end up leveling Ciampa. Lashley then hit the spear on him. And pretty much that was basically that. Overall, solid match this was, but who is this random person that attacked Styles? We don't know. So then Dexter Lumis, once again, appears in the crowd and kidnaps The Miz. Who knows if The Miz is going to be off TV for a little bit because of that. But overall, it was a solid match. And then we had the return of Johnny Gargano. Johnny Wrestling. Was happy to see Gargano return tonight. You know, his contract expired, I think in December. He wasn't released, just his contract was expired. So he went off, him and Candice had a child. And a lot of us in the IWC, the Internet Wrestling community, was predicting, oh, is Gargano going to come back to WWE? Is he going to resign with WWE? Or is Tony Khan going to give him a call and Tony Khan's going to sign him with AEW? And then we'll get Johnny Wrestling on Wednesday nights on Dynamite. And a lot of people were like, oh yeah, well, Gargano, he might show up on AEW in Cleveland. Fortunately, that wasn't the case. Triple H is now running things, and he ended up bringing back Gargano. And I got to applaud Triple H for that. Good on Triple H for bringing Gargano back. And now that Gargano is on Monday Night Raw, when his wife, Candice, returns, without a doubt, she will be on Monday Night Raw. But Gargano returned tonight, got a massive pop from the Toronto crowd. It was a shock. It was a surprise. It was unexpected. That's the thing I like about Triple H. He's making these surprise returns, very unexpected, and keeping it real hush hush and secretive. When Vince and his administration were running stuff, be like, oh well, Lita is gonna appear tonight. I'm like, why would you just release that? Keep it as a surprise, or any other, legend superstar like Stone Cold Steve Austin, or hell, Kurt Angle. They should have kept that as a surprise. But, later on in the night on Monday Night Raw, it was announced that Kurt Angle is going to be appearing next week on Raw in Pittsburgh, in his hometown. But back to Johnny Gargano. The crowd started chanting Johnny Wrestling. We all missed Gargano. The last time we saw Gargano, he was a part, of the stable, The Way in NXT. It was him when he was a heel. His wife, Candice LeRae, she was a heel. This was a heel stable. It was him, his wife, Candice. It was Indy Hartwell, and it was Austin Theory. It was one of my favorite stables in NXT. So he ended up getting on the mic. He had a spotlight on him in the ring. And he ended up saying that it's been 9 months. And that he has to remember how to do this. He ended up reminding fans who he is. He ended up saying, of his accomplishments in NXT. And he ended up addressing the questions about where or when he'll show up. He ended up revealing that he didn't know if he wanted to wrestle again. He kept saying that he remembers having big, impossible dreams as a kid. His dreams of being the Intercontinental Champion, dreams of being the United States Champion, and dreams of being the WWE Champion. He kept saying that it hit him, that he should show his son that dreams can come true. Gargano kept saying that you can never fail if you bet on yourself. He kept saying that's what he's been doing. He kept saying that he's proud to say that Johnny Wrestling is back. And so Austin Theory ended up coming out. Austin Theory got on the mic and he ended up asking if this is real. And that a lot has happened since Gargano left. So we had Johnny Gargano end up saying that he's been watching Austin Theory. And Austin Theory ended up discussing what he's accomplished since Gargano left. He ended up saying that he's already achieved Gargano's dreams. And he ended up telling Gargano that he couldn't have done this without him. He ended up saying that he took him under his wing. That Gargano took him under his wing in NXT. He ended up saying that he's the veteran, while Gargano is the rookie. Austin Theory ended up saying that he can carry his bags and briefcase. So Theory ended up saying that he can show Gargano the way, wink wink, because of the stable that him and Gargano were in NXT. He ended up saying that everyone loves them together. Well, we did love them together, in the way. So Theory ended up saying that they should do the high five and get ready to do it. So Gargano was, wanted to do it. He wanted to give the high five to Theory, but he didn't do it. He delivered a super kick to Theory, in his face, and that was that. Overall, this whole segment was awesome. Very, very happy Gargano is back. Glad that Triple H re-signed Gargano. And it's going to lead to good things for Gargano. Hopefully, we get Tommaso Ciampa reuniting with Gargano and we get a DIY reunion. Get Ciampa away from The Miz, pair him back with Johnny Gargano, and we get DIY again. So I would love to see that happen. Awesome, awesome segment this was. Very happy that Gargano was back. We all missed him. And then we had the announcement that next week on Raw in Pittsburgh, there's going to be a face-to-face against Riddle and Seth Rollins. And we're going to get an appearance by Kurt Angle in his hometown next week. Appearance by him. That's happening next week on Raw. And then we had the main event. Edge versus Damian Priest. Edge in his hometown of Toronto got a huge pop there. His wife, Beth Phoenix, WWE Hall of Famer, she was sitting at ringside. So we had the match end up starting. Both Edge and Damian Priest end up blocking up. Edge tossed Priest out of the ring. Priest ended up getting back into the ring, delivered a knee to Edge. Edge shoved Priest before sending him out of the ring. We did not have Balor or Rhea Ripley out there because, Damian Priest just wanted to go one-on-one with Edge. He didn't need Balor or Rhea Ripley out there. So Priest ended up getting back into the ring. Edge ended up pushing him into the corner. Priest delivered a forearm to Edge, and he threw him into the corner, delivered a kick. Edge ended up sliding to the outside, and he delivered a clothesline to Damian Priest. And Edge then powerbombed Damian Priest on the barricade. And we had Damian Priest end up flying off the top, and Edge ended up moving out of the way. And we had Priest and Edge end up hitting one another with a double clothesline. And then they followed up with a double big boot. Edge then delivered a couple of clotheslines, and he ended up hitting a neck breaker off the ropes to Damian Priest. He went for the cover. Priest kicked out. And we had Priest end up heading to the outside. And Edge, this was a good spot right here in the match. Edge was on the top, and he ended up flying off the top and took Damian Priest down on the outside. It was awesome. And then Damian Priest got back up. He chokeslammed Edge into the apron, and he picked up Edge. Priest picked up Edge, and he delivered the Razor's Edge, and he dropped Edge through the commentary table. And then as Monday Night Raw came back from the commercial, Edge and Damian Priest were teetering on the top. Edge then delivered a nice hurricanrana off the top. Priest then delivered a spinning back heel kick to Edge. And Edge ended up kicking out as Damian Priest ended up going for the cover. So Edge and Priest ended up exchanging forearms and some slaps. Damian Priest ended up hitting a spinning back elbow to Edge. Edge came back, hit a DDT, and he ended up going for the cover. Priest ended up kicking out. Priest ended up hitting the twisted neck breaker, and Edge then countered that with a final reckoning to Damian Priest. He ended up going for the cover. Priest kicked out. Edge was looking to go for the sharpshooter, but he ended up knocking out the ref, who was Charles Robinson. He ended up knocking Charles Robinson out of the ring. Priest then ended up hitting Edge with the Staff of Heaven, and Priest then grabbed a chair. Priest ended up going for a concerto, but Edge ended up avoiding it. Edge ended up sweeping Damian Priest's feet. He ended up knocking Priest down onto the chair. Edge ended up breaking a support pole off the chair. He ended up putting the pole in Damian Priest's mouth, and he pulled back into a crossface, and he had the pole, on Damian Priest's mouth. Edge ended up setting up for a spear, and he ended up charging. Damian Priest ended up smashing Edge in the face with the pole. Priest ended up covering, and Charles Robinson slowly got into the ring. He ended up, doing the 1, 2, and then Edge barely kicked out. Priest ended up punching the mat because he was frustrated that Edge ended up kicking out. Priest ended up setting up for a crucifix powerbomb. Edge countered that, and he delivered a Canadian Destroyer on Damian Priest. And it was a awesome Canadian Destroyer that Edge hit at Damian Priest. Just absolutely awesome. So Edge ended up delivering a spear to Damian Priest, ended up going for the cover, and there you go. Edge ended up winning the match in his hometown of Toronto. So got a big pop. Post-match, Edge ended up sending Damian Priest up. He was going to hit a concerto to Damian Priest. Rhea Ripley ended up coming in from behind, and she low-blowed Edge. Balor ended up going up to the top rope, and he ended up hitting Edge with the coup de grace. And so we had them go for a concerto on Edge. So Beth Phoenix jumped over the barricade, and she ended up ripping the chair away. Beth Phoenix got into the ring with the chair. She ended up threatening Judgment Day, and Rhea Ripley was just looked intense in there. Balor ended up holding her back. So we had Rhea Ripley and Balor ended up pulling Damian Priest out of the ring, and they went back up the ramp, and it was just Edge and Beth Phoenix in the ring, and that was how Monday Night Raw went off the air. Overall, very awesome match, very good match between Edge and Damian Priest, and with Beth Phoenix coming in there to save her husband, of course, is this going to lead to Beth Phoenix and Edge versus Rhea Ripley and Finn Balor? or Rhea Ripley or Damian Priest. That's where I see it's going to lead to. This is giving me vibes of when Edge and Beth Phoenix end up taking on Miz and Maurice. But who knows? Maybe that's where they're going with it. I sense that. I sense they're going to do that. But overall, Monday Night Raw, good show tonight. Really enjoyed it. But anyways, that's it for the Monday Night Raw review. Thank you all for watching. Hope you all enjoyed this review. Definitely give the video a thumbs up, comment, subscribe, and I will see you all Wednesday night for AEW Dynamite.